Hey guys, welcome back to another world base building video. Today I'm joined with Mr. Mars here, another builder at World Base Building, and today we're going to be reacting to some common base link videos you guys might see on YouTube. Look it up on YouTube, you might look up uh, popular Town Hall 16 base links. You have all sorts of channels that make all these types of different videos. So today we're going to be reacting to some of them. Now we haven't looked at them in depth, but we have curated a few videos to go through. So today the first video we're going to be looking through is Clash with Cash here after update Town Hall 16 bases. So let's get into it and see what we think about it. So first, these bases might show some ghost layouts, and then let's go ahead and see. All right, here we go. So first trap layout we're taking a look at. Um, I'll give some input here, and then Mars, you take it away. So I kind of like this. It looks like a Town Hall 16 Legends base to me, to be honest. Like you see those isolated cores here with just kind of a dead zone ring, just to kind of funnel troops around it. Gives root riders a hard time pathing. So Mars, what do you think here?
I feel like this base is very interesting. I do like the layout of it. I do see this working well in Legend League, also as ESL. I
Okay.
feel like, yeah, I feel like the traps are pretty well placed. I like how the Seeking Air Mines are covering most of like the main defenses for dragons. The only thing, in my opinion, I would change is the red air bomb, and make it as a farm on to town
For
hall.
sure.
Because yeah, I just feel like dragons, if they come in with like a clone blimp or something, you
Okay,
put
yeah,
NATO with it,
for
and
sure. Yeah, the red bombs here, they do seem to be pretty weak. Also, I do you see where the NATO is? Okay, it's right here in front of the monolith. I would probably move that to near the town hall, like you said, with a red bomb farm. Bomb towers and core, I'm not really a fan of bomb towers and core. I think they're better suited near a ricochet cannon or a scatter to help with the RC hog puppet or other hero suis you might see, as well as just like general splash damage against troops. Um, Other than that, I think yeah, I think red bombs could be moved together in core, and bomb towers maybe moved out and maybe a restructure there. But I do think this is generally would be good. I mean, I don't see really anything else here. Tesla Farm could be moved from Eagle to maybe one of the scatter shot compartments, but yeah, overall, I'd probably give this a 6, 7 out of 10. What do you think, Mars?
I agree. I would say like a 7 out of 10, and if Legend League, I would say possibly a 7 to 8.
Okay, yeah, I could see this doing pretty good in low legends. All right, let's go with the next base here. Don't want to spend too much time on each base. So here's the next base we got. All right. Okay, we got a diamond double poison here. First thing to stick out to me is this CC placement. I think that is very bad. We have seen some teaser meta here with having a town hall on close to the edge, CC expos, but it's very weak right now, and you kind of need the best CC placement you can in defending. What do you think, Mars?
I feel like it is a good base. I've seen this base ran in a Worlds qualifiers by, I think it was Dizzy Esports, or Dizzy Senzinos.
Yes.
I do like the layout. I feel like I've attacked this base many times. It is a little weaker to root riders, because I mean, if I can triple this, then the base is
Yeah.
I'm not trying to diss.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
do like how everything is built. I love the layout. I feel like the only problem is trap placements for air, and possibly the CC. The
Yeah.
CC just really bothers
Yeah,
me.
this EC really bothers me as well. I think this base would be improved by maybe moving these ground bows where these builder huts are, just so they're a little bit further away from the edge. You get your CC placement maybe somewhere on the core. You could kind of replace it where the single is here, and you could even put the single in this compartment here next to the eagle. Maybe make that a multi, or even put it in the mono compartment, or even in front of the town hall. I don't think the single really does much here behind the town hall, if I'm being completely honest. I think the CC would be better placed there. Um, yeah, the traps don't look really bad. I like the giant bombs are kind of stacked here. That I like that on the sides of the base, to be honest. Um, Other than that, trap
I
placement is okay. Yeah.
I I do agree with you. With the changing of the single behind town hall, what I would do is I would change the warden with the single, and I would change that comp with the monolith, and I would make it isolated.
For sure.
So it's like an isolated mono and multi inferno comp.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, I did hit this base in hard mode. This base is very tricky in hard mode when there's a root rider ban. I did Queen Charge Hybrid. CC was like the CC Expo and Multi Arch Tower did hurt my queen a lot, but the queen stayed alive for a while. So I would also just change the CC placement behind Town
Okay,
Hall. You know,
yeah,
I want
for
some
sure.
DPS.
I'd probably give this base another. I don't know. I kind of like the general layout of it, but I think the CC just it can be taken advantage way too easily. So if you run this base, just be careful of that CC placement. Um, I would recommend running another base than this one, but I think it could do well in lower legends potentially. But I'd probably give this one a 5 out of 10 in my opinion. I just think there's a lot of things that could be improved on here.
Agreed. Legend League, not a big fan for this base. You know, I would say for ESL and hard mode wars, this base could work pretty well with a couple
Okay,
tweaks.
for
Other
sure.
than
All right,
that,
let's move on to the next base then. All right, next base we're looking at a anti 3 here. Anti 3s are very I guess it kind of is an anti 2, anti 3 style base, but anti 3s are very weak in my opinion, and I know you have a lot of experience, Mars, building anti 3, so I'm gonna leave this one to you. What do you think here?
so I'm a big fan of this base. All right. So my team actually hit this
Okay.
pretty pretty recently. And Will's on my team. Yes. Uh, he's not the one that hit this base, but I do love the town hall comp. The reason why is there is a lot of DPS by that multi inferno with the poison towers, double Rico cannons, the heroes, multi arch tower, and the expo there. I see that as a really tough backend if players are not going into that directly.
For sure.
And
One thing that
I
does stick out to me is this trap placement from this base link here. I think that this is poor placement, of course, of these traps. And also, this looks like it's supposed to be a rage tower to me, just by the proximity of these defenses, but continue.
I agree. I agree. So I feel like instead of that poison by the scatters, I would have turned that into a rage. I would change some of the air traps because it's all clumped up. If somebody just wardens that, then there's no value, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, this is going to be where you're going to be using your Eternal Tome, either here or the Town Hall. So having all these traps here stacked really doesn't get much value. So I would usually move all these red bombs here behind the Monolith Town Hall CC area. I think that'd be a very good spot for that. That's the sweepers are kind of fine on this base. It's an awkward base to attack, and I could see this base doing really good against underexperienced players because this, like you said, this town hall compartment here is very stacked. I honestly not a big fan of anti threes here at Town Hall 16, but I think this one I do like it, and I think it could be tricky to some attackers. You do have kind of some easy defense pathing through core here, but if attackers aren't careful, you might have some problems on this base. So I'd probably give this one a 7 to 8 out of 10 as well. But this would need the traps to be replaced in order to make it a better base, in my opinion.
Agreed. Like Legend League, I would say it's a pretty good base for low Legend League, but anti threes up in Legend League, I don't think that's gonna
Yeah, I
work.
think you're better off using this in War or Mid Legend League. I don't think anti threes really have a place in esports right now, just because they can get taken advantage of so easily. Um, but all right, let's move on to the next base here. All right, next base. Ooh, let's see if we can get traps here. Okay, this is. You might have seen bases like this with an Invis in the town hall compartment. We kind of see these isolated town halls, hoping the people 1 star or just don't get the 3 star here. First thing to stick out to me is Hmm. I don't know. This is a interesting defensive stack here, but I don't really see anything wrong with it. The combo defenses are very strong. What do you think, Mars?
To be honest, I'm not that big of a fan, just because if you overgrowth core, then you can just kind of wrap around the base. Like if somebody's attacking you with two overgrowths or even just like three, because that's pretty popular now with root riders. Um, I would say you just got to be very careful on when to run it. Low Legend League, it's fine. High Legend League or mid Legend League where people are going to be using more like 2, 3 overgrowths, sometimes even 4. I'd say it wouldn't work because the root rider meta right now with the dragon meta is kind of overpowered, and with the overgrowth, it's just too
Yeah.
much value to go around, you know?
I also noticed as you were talking, these single Inferno towers really just don't get any value here, like whatsoever. Like almost I don't know. They're not really doing anything, to be honest. Obviously the traps on this are bad too. I don't know if you noticed. I'm assuming
Yeah.
these got swapped here because they're spring traps on a gold mine. So like this, most of these bases, like they're not terrible bases, but the traps are very bad. Upcoming world base building trapping video coming soon to be able to trap your own bases. But yeah, I would not. I think there's a lot wrong with this base. I'd probably give this like a 3 out of 10.
Yeah,
I don't
I
really, I would not
agree.
recommend running this one.
I'd say if you tweak it a little bit, low legend league could work, but ESL, war, or anything, I don't think this stands a chance.
All right, for sure. All right, let's move on to the next base, and then we'll move on to our next video after this next base. All right, another, another, I guess anti two here, but double invis, our first double invis base we're seeing. Now, I'm a big hater on double invis bases. I think they're extremely weak, and I think they're overdone. Um, the other things I see about this, uh, I mean, the sweepers really just don't do anything. And the traps, the traps look to be okay. Yeah. What do you think here, Mars?
I've actually hit this base in Legend League.
What did you think?
It's, I used Zaplalo. I feel like this base is just too weak with how the spell towers are used. I'm not a fan of double invis. Double invis is so easy for Zap Lalo players, even root riders.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I've noticed lately.
I think in my opinion most invis bases, double invis bases, I don't really think there's a place for them right now in the game. I just think that they have been overused to the point where everyone knows how to attack them now. Like, and the problem is you can't even really get defenses with normal bases. So invis bases, like you can just completely just spam your troops into the side of the base sometimes, and don't give a care. Like you don't care about the invis towers, and it'll still triple sometimes. So I personally I wouldn't recommend. I think for underexperienced players and low legends, there will always be a place for double invis bases just because people don't know how to attack them who don't have a lot of experience. But anything higher than like 5,500 trophies, this probably doesn't really get you any defenses at all. And especially in war and CWL, this is not going to get you any defenses because people know how to attack them. So
I
I just don't run this base to be honest. Double invis is overdone.
I agree with you. I'm not a big fan, and every time I see a double invis, I'm very excited to attack it because I know how very easy it is. So other
All
people
right.
are gonna think the same.
Next base video, we are looking at Kingdom of Cock overpowered Town Hall 16 best war base link. So this is the first one. It's another double invis base, surprisingly. And when I pulled up this video, when we were looking at the videos that we wanted to look at, um, the traps on this are horrendous. If you guys can see here, we have almost all of the black seeking air mines here, just all around the town hall, which is you can have some around the town hall, which does good against blimps or dragons and stuff, but most of the time people are using the eternal tome around the town hall, so the traps are not always going to get a lot of value there. And the thing that I'm noticing as well is since it's a double invis, a lot of the invis bases that work are the ones that have dead zones that path troops away when the invis is activated. But like this one, you can honestly just spam all your troops here, right? And they'll just kind of just roll over the base, and you can just like these Invis bases. I've never seen them work, so I'm gonna give this like a 1 out of 10, and it would be a 2 out of 10 if it had better traps. But these bomb tower placements are terrible. The Tesla farm is not good. Um, and then the Seeking Air Mines are terrible. So what do you think, Mars?
I feel like this base, if tweaked properly, could possibly work in hard mode, but other than that, I don't think so, because if you keep the double invis, you could simply just queen charge into Eagle, take out 2 scatters, multi 2 expos, and even an Eagle artillery with a queen charge in hard mode.
For sure.
Even with a fireball,
All right.
it's too much.
Okay. Next base here, we're looking at Invis Diamond. I've actually hit a base like this before, and these stacked cores do have a place in the meta right now, and I think we're seeing a lot of. I think this building style here with a nice stacked rage core. I think the multi-archer towers pair very nicely with a rage tower, more than I think almost any defenses, and I think everyone can agree that multis are very strong when they're raged. Um, this is dangerous to air spam and air because you hit people who are spamming dragons or blimps here. If they're not careful, the rage comp will kind of kill the blimp off. But this invis here could also be tricky as well to attackers. I think generally like this base here. The scatter comp is a little bit goofy, to be honest, but there's nothing wrong with that. There's some goofy stuff that does work right now in the meta. What do you think, Mars?
So one thing I have noticed is there's 3 wizard towers on the end of the base.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of that. Second of all, I'm not too big of a fan of the Seeking Air Mine placements by the Monolith. I feel like if you just spread them out a little bit more, maybe some in the core next to like the multis could work. Interesting red air bomb farm.
Yeah, I just noticed that as well. The red air
yeah.
bomb farm is I would agree the same thing. The wizard towers, that's kind of a L having them all stacked there. Sam's, that's kind of a waste there. The Seeking Air Mines though, if you put these here by the NATO, like that would just make it so much better, to be honest.
Exactly. Yes. There's also one more flaw I do see with this base. Well, actually 2, is the giant arrow value.
For sure.
So what I see is you can giant arrow from either 3 or 6 to get either 2 spell towers, or you can just zap the monolith, even the core, because you can get the rage, multi arch tower, and even a oh my god, multi inferno. You could, if I'm not wrong, you could also arrow from either 12 to 6 to get both sweepers, zap, also the core again. So it's just too much value to give. You just gotta use the outside buildings, to get the giant arrow, trick your,
Yeah, for sure.
your path.
I'd probably give this base a 4 or a 5 out of 10. I think it would definitely go up if the traps were better. And I think just some simple fixes like getting better value from your expos, maybe switching up with the bomb towers here, fixing your traps, maybe placing a wizard tower around here, moving your red bombs to core. And probably I would put the Tesla farm on the monolith, to be honest. That's what I would do on this base. I think
Yeah.
this would go up from some tweaks, but I think it has some good concepts, but I don't think the builder capitalized as much as he could.
I agree with that. It still seems like a solid base. I just feel like if he just tweaks a little bit more, or if he just put in, I would say, a little bit more effort to see what's going on, then I would say this is a good base. But in my opinion, this is like a 2 or 3.
All right. Well, we'll do 2 more bases here, and then we'll switch to our last video. All right. This is our next base. It looks to be kind of like a anti-2 box style base. Now, I have seen stuff like this, and as you noticed, a lot of builders, one of the tips is try to take up the whole surrounding of the base. So as you know, this one's a little bit more compact, which does have a place, but it makes it more vulnerable to attacks like E-Dragons or just getting good pathing. Now, the first thing that sticks out to me, these red bombs aren't terrible per se, but I think red bombs are the best just stacked together, like we've gone over before. This NATO, it's not a terrible NATO placement. This CC, this looks to me just kind of like a Legends base, honestly. It's something you find in Legends, and I don't think it's that bad per se. But what do you think, Mars?
I feel like it's a pretty solid base. I see some flaws, like I said, with the giant arrow value. E-Drags will go crazy.
Oh, for sure.
Um, Even with the NATO placement, even if they don't use a blimp, they could just use the siege barracks by 6 or
Yeah.
6 or 3, and then super minions come out, and it still kind of gets town hall if everything doesn't. And heroes is a little awkward where you would place, which I find is pretty good. But other
Yeah.
than that, I just feel like the base is a little too
Yeah,
compact for my
I,
liking.
I honestly I like this base for Legends. I would not run this in War. I mean, the title says best War base. It actually has Legends bases as well, but
Yes.
I would say this is a Legends base almost exclusively. I would not recommend running this in War. It could work in War, but CWL, I would not see this working in CWL, especially at the higher level. But I could see this working in Legends for sure. I think the awkwardness of it could help in a way, even though it kind of looks kind of goofy. So I would recommend this for Legends. I'd probably give this a 7. I think I know that the CC's on the outside here, but you have these hero stack here that we've gone over, and the multi-archer towers that it's just kind of awkward. I've seen some bases like this work. Um, I'm curious to see how this would work nowadays that people have seen more stuff like this, but I think it's a decent base overall.
Yeah, I feel like it's 5 to 6 to be
Yeah.
honest.
Okay. I'm all right. Let's look at this next one. This one. All right. We got an ad here.
Uh,
Okay. I don't have YouTube Premium. All right. Last base, and we'll look at our last base link video. Okay. So we have ourselves a double rage diamond. Now, I have seen this base. Um, the scatter comps are very weak. These could definitely be improved. Because the barbarian king is just so good that he can just walk in and get that whole compartment. The double rage is nice. One thing I just realized though, this monolith is not in the rage tower. Like, what is this rage comp here? Like,
exactly.
you're not raging anything. It's just a multi in the Tesla farm, which doesn't make it good. So honestly, I do not like this base. What do you
To
think,
be
Mars?
honest, there's a couple weeks I would do. I would change CC with the bomb tower for sure. I just
I,
hate that.
this looks to me like if you notice these elixir storages here, it looks like someone and the bomb tower. It looks like someone swapped the defenses out here without like realizing what they were doing. So
Yeah.
I would think that the CC would probably go here where the bomb tower is. I would assume that's where it was. The monolith was probably swapped here because if you notice, this dead zone here is not really dead zoning anything because you have your multis here, but like you have easy pathing to the multis through this spot here. So this dead zone's kind of useless. It's a waste of walls. So I'm assuming the monolith would be here, and then you'd have the CC either here or here. So it looks to me like the guy who had this base just swapped stuff around. So I do not like it because of that. And I would say don't run this base. It looks very just kind of just there's a lot wrong with it.
I I do agree with you on that. I would say if you are experienced or if you know like rage tower ranges or like everything that's reachability and all, I would say tweak it for yourself. I would definitely myself, I would close those scatter comps
Oh,
just
for
so it's
sure,
not
yeah. And
yeah.
this is a big waste of walls here when you have this open and easy pathing into there.
Agreed. Agreed. Second of all, I would change the monolith comp.
Oh, for
I would
sure.
definitely change that. So
Yeah.
it's at least in a rage, you know?
Yeah.
Um, I would also get rid of the Tesla farm there, just so if they do come in from the monolith comp, then it's harder to get like a funnel out of it. Um, but the top, like I would see more people coming in from the most DPS side, so I would say they would come in from 1 to 2 o'clock into that rage tower comp. Use a warden when they get near to core to the double ricochet cannons, and then they would pretty much keep the rest of their spells and everything for the back end. And I feel like this base with like how it is right now,
Yeah,
I just feel it's
I
too weak.
really don't like how it is right now. There's a lot going
Many
on.
flaws.
Oh,
Many
for sure.
flaws.
All right, last base link video. It is a Stars Diamond Legend base. And the reason we put this one here at the end is when we were looking at it just off the beginning, we kind of agreed that we think it would be a good base for you guys. But we're going to review it here. So first things off to me is this stacked Rage Core. Now, the reason I like this base is because I have experience building with this style, and I have had a Legend base that does work pretty well for me with a style like this. Um, it does have a few flaws, of course, every base does. Um, Now, there isn't really a good spot on him for the base like this, but I've noticed that having your sweepers like this is a little bit weak just off the experience of me using this exact component myself. Um, Other than that, yeah, Mars, what do you think?
So I do really like this base. For me, I'm very picky. Like for me, I'll just like criticize on the small things. Like I don't like the core air defenses, but I feel like it's a nice touch to this base.
I do
I
think, yeah,
do
for sure.
I do really like the core, like you said, the rage, because it gets three of the multis, two of the multi arch towers, and then the CC is also there. So I really like how that is, and I do like how he made like the pathing, like he used the trash buildings correctly. He made it harder to get into core from certain angles.
For sure.
And I really like how the spell towers are placed because now they are not giant arrow like
Yeah.
hittable from
I
one.
yeah, like you said, I do think um these stacked rage cores are actually really good against overgrowth as well sometimes because overgrowth is really popular. People just overgrowth that, and kind of leave it towards the end, which could make it tricky for them. Um, I do say that I mean honestly, it's just kind of a good legend space here. It does have kind of easy pathing from certain angles, but I think, like you said, the core air defenses usually aren't good. But on this base, I think it works because the attacker can take advantage of these sweepers very easily, which obviously helps against air spam. But you know these air defenses might just help a little bit against that. So yeah,
Agreed. The only flaw I do see is overgrowth over town hall as soon as the poison tower is pulled, and then you just overgrowth the double arch towers, town hall,
you
and
could
then your
even
root riders into scatter, and then it just pretty much goes around the base, if you use two
yeah for
overgrowths.
sure. If
So
the attacker is careful about funneling the here, you can overgrowth the town hall and the rage tower, which could be pretty good for the attacker because then you're going through the core multis in monolith without having it raged. Yeah.
I fully agree with that. I am a big fan of this base though. I feel
Oh
like
yeah,
in
for
my
sure.
opinion this base is definitely up there. I would say definitely like it has like not many flaws, so I would say possibly a 9 out of 10
Yeah,
here.
I would agree with you. 9 out of 10. I think it could be improved with some extra just small dead zones to force pathing a little bit more. Um, I do think that one flaw this could have is just a side spam because you have direct defensive pathing. But I mean, bases like this are tricky to hit like that, so you never know. I haven't seen this defend, but yeah, it could be a good base. But we just want to say thank you guys for watching this video. If you made it to the end, we're on the road to 5,000 subscribers here. Leave any feedback you have below, and we'd love to make some extra videos that you guys want to see. So here today, I was joined by Mars. If you guys want to see more Mars, feel free to let us know down in the comments below. And thank you all. Have a wonderful day, and we're here for any base building you need so you guys have. Peace.
Peace.